Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope the wind isn't too bad for you. Today we're going to try something a little different, a little fun. Just me today. And yeah, I thought I would just play a little game. Go over some of the things things I know now that I would tell my younger self. So it's going to be fun, I hope. So stay tuned for that.
Hi, we're Jeff and Sonny. We retired early, sold everything we owned that didn't fit into 2 carry-ons and 2 backpacks, and now we slow travel the world. Join us on this groovy adventure as we explore retirement life on the road.
There we are with our drinks.
Alright guys, so yeah, let's see how this goes. You like this little picture-in-picture thing? Pretty fancy, huh? So we are spending the summer in my hometown of Bend, Oregon, and a beautiful place in the summer. A little cool today. It's usually sunny and warm here. Today we got a few clouds, had a little rain this morning, but yeah, it's nice right now. Anyway, I am taking a stroll while Sonny is actually filming another video, so we're double teaming you. But I am taking a stroll through my old neighborhood I grew up in. I lived in this neighborhood till I was, well, from the day I was born till I was 13 years old. So I learned to swim here, not very well, and it wasn't nearly as extensive as this. No slides when I was here. But yeah, so I just thought we'd kind of take a stroll through here and reminisce a bit and talk about what I would tell myself when I was a youngster. So yeah, I spent a lot of time in this park, at the swimming pool. This used to be a bunch of basketball courts, and in the wintertime there was an ice rink. And I learned to ride my bike in the summertime on that ice rink. Anyway, so yeah, let's jump into this. Got a few notes I got to refer to because I'll never remember. So this is in no particular order, but when I was in high school, and I had a car. My parents said that you know, I had to pay for my own insurance and gas. You know, now that I think about it, I don't know if they actually said that. I think I decided I wanted to pay for my own insurance and gas. But I do know my dad said, you need to get a job. So I got a job. My first job actually was newspaper boy, delivering newspapers in this neighborhood. And then we moved when I was 13, and it was too hard to get to this neighborhood. And paper boys I made about $70 a month plus tips. So not great, not bad for a teenager, but my dad worked at the mill and knew a lot of the suppliers because he was in the purchasing department. And so he talked to one of their suppliers, and I went and interviewed and got a job at a hydraulic shop, and I was making good money. So, you know, while all my friends were, I don't know, doing minimum wage jobs or not working at all, I'd get off school and head there and start working, and the money became sort of addictive. And there's a lot of things I wished I would have done instead. I wish I would have played sports for starters, because I do like to play sports. Yeah, I was relatively athletic. But yeah, so I prioritize money over that, which is a theme we'll come back to, but that's, you've got all the rest of your life to make money. And mostly I blew it, you know. I bought the trendy sunglasses. Of course I was paying for gas and insurance. But yeah, I didn't save a lot. Bought a motorcycle, stuff like that. So I would definitely say you've got the rest of your life to make money. You know, experience things. And on that note, the next thing I have written down here is invest. I mean, even at 13, I would have put just a little money into some sort of an investment. Now, granted, back in those days, there was no interwebs. So investing, you had to have like a stockbroker and all that stuff. And nobody I knew was investing. So it wasn't quite as straightforward back in that time. But yeah, if I could have figured it out somehow, put a little money aside, who knows? It could have been a contender. And, you know, teach yourself about the power of compound interest, how it works for you and how it works against you. Because most of my life, it was working against me. Credit cards and the like. So, yeah, have it work for you and not against you. Alright, so we're coming to one of the many busy roads here in Bend. See, they tore down the old fort. There used to be a fort here in Juniper Park. You know, like the old cavalry forts. Crossing here. I'm walking here. Ah, yes. Used to walk this street a lot, heading from my house to the swimming pool. All right, so yeah, I don't know why they got rid of the fort. It did turn into a place where homeless people would go to the bathroom and sleep, so I don't know, maybe that's it. All right, so, next one's a biggie. Biggie for me, and I think a biggie for most people. Don't be afraid of failure. You hear this a lot, and it's true. There's a lot of things I didn't do or put off doing because I was afraid I was going to fail at it. When the reality is, failure's a good thing. And I learned that later in life, but could have been so far ahead had I learned it sooner. I tried to instill that in my son. He's one of these kids, and like me, I kind of was naturally good at a lot of things, and they came easy. But then there were those few things that I would run into that I struggled with, and so I just avoided them. So whenever I found my son was not good at something, we'd make him see it through for sure. Never did learn to drive a stick shift. Sorry, I'm looking, we're thinking about the van thing. That's what we're thinking about right there. Anyway, I digress. So I remember this house right here. I used to have a friend that I'd come up here and all we did was draw together. We'd just lay on his living room floor with markers and draw. It was a good time. What do I got next? Oh, this one I'm still paying for. I remember, I think it was shortly after I got married, I remember actually telling my wife, telling Sonny, you know, I am so active, I think I can pretty much eat whatever I want and I'll be fine. I found out you cannot out-exercise a bad diet. And I was active. I played tennis all summer long, like several days a week, racquetball in the winter. I was a mountain biker. I was a runner. I played pickup basketball and city league basketball. And I mean, I was active. I was really active. And so I ate biscuits and gravy every week. You know, just crazy. And yeah, I still got fat. And it was all bad for my knees, carrying all that weight and playing all those sports. You know? So definitely stress to my younger self that you cannot out-exercise a bad diet. Okay, so what's next here? Oh, and on that note, take care of your knees. I now have 2 artificial knees, and that came from a lot of playing sports and carrying too much weight, but it also came from this fad of the you know, the shoes with all the arch support and cushioning and stuff. Stuff is bad for your knees. I think the knee surgery business has exploded since that was the accepted way to do things. It's humid today. I'm getting a little sweat on. It's not usually humid here. It's usually like in the 20s or below. So, all right, we have reached the street that I grew up on. So we'll take a little gander at my old house. Anyway, the knees, yeah. I liked to run, and I was doing trail running. Every time I would put on my, this is like towards the end of my knee lifespan, every time I'd put on my running shoes to just walk out to run, my knees would start hurting. And I thought, well, that's just because they're looking forward to what's about to happen to them. But no, it was the shoes. Too much support. You have an arch for a reason. Let the arch be your shock absorber. All right, so this was the house I grew up in. It's changed a lot. They've expanded it. But this juniper tree here used to have a swing that my dad put on it. And yeah, I used to swing on that thing and scare the bejesus out of my mom because she'd be in the kitchen doing dishes and I'd get that thing swinging and then jump out of it. It got to where she told me not to do that, so I had to make sure she wasn't doing dishes when I was swinging. And then we got this is the barn house. We had names for everything when we were a kid. Do you have names for stuff when you were a kid? Video. Yeah, so yeah, we had the barn house, which obviously, because it was a barn, that was turned into a house. They've added on a barn-like looking garage, obviously. Anyway, and this used to be dirt road. You know, all the old people was like, I remember when this used to be farmland, you know. But this was a dirt road. We used to come up here to a place called the Big Hills. We'd ride our bikes, play with BB guns. Last time I came up here, the Big Hills didn't look as big as they did when I was a kid. Everything seems bigger when you're a kid. But it all borders on the cemetery up here, where we also played a lot. Seems kind of odd. But yeah, it was a good place to play. We would ride go-karts. There's a road up here with a hill on it. We'd ride go-karts down that hill and come out here when they have the sprinklers on and have war with the sprinklers. It's a good time. And that is Pilot Butte. There used to be a big bee up there made out of painted white rocks, and my friends and I used to climb up there and rearrange the bee into other shapes, but we'd have to climb up the backside so my mom wouldn't see us. Seems like I spent most of my childhood trying to make sure my mom couldn't see what I was doing. I suppose that's normal, right? So what's next? Where was I at? Take care of these. Oh yeah, this one's just a big one for a lot of things in my life. Ask questions. I always got like straight A's in school. I didn't have to try. I think I have sort of a photographic memory, and so I didn't need to ask questions most of the time. And so I thought people who ask questions were dumb. But then later on, when everything didn't always come easy to me, then I was afraid to ask questions. And that's not a good way to be. So I think it would have made a big difference in my life if I would have, been more humble and asked questions. And also, I had a bit of social anxiety. I was okay like one-on-one with someone, but if I got into a party of people I didn't know, I felt like I didn't have anything interesting to say. So I got really nervous and filled with anxiety, and I didn't know how to carry on a conversation. And I found out later the key to being a good conversationalist is not what you say, it's what you ask. So you ask questions, get the other people talking, it takes all the pressure off of you. And I didn't learn that until later in life. Still struggle with it a bit, because now that I'm doing interesting things, I have things to talk about, and so I forget that I need to ask questions and not just make it all about me. So yeah, a lot of these I'm still working on, to be quite honest with you. This was our go-kart hill, and again, it doesn't seem as steep as it did when we were on the go-kart. And when I say go-kart, I mean like 2x4s nailed together with I don't know where we got the wheels. We had like 4, came off of a lawnmower or something, and a rope to steer with. Yeah, good times. Oh, and there's a creek that runs up there, and we used to shoot water skippers, and I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but we found a kitten once, and we built a raft, and we floated the kitten under a bridge. We're boys. What are you gonna do? So yeah, lots of stuff happened here in the cemetery. We got chased by some teenagers once. We thought they were gonna try to kidnap us, and then one of the kids we were with fell down and hit his head on one of the grave markers. Scared them, and they drove off. Weird stuff. Anyway, so here's a big one. This one I still struggle with, but it's a good one just for life. And I got this out of the book 7 Habits for Highly Successful People, I think it's called. And it's the only it's the only habit I remember. But and I think it's the most important one, and it's seek first to understand. Sometimes, yeah, I find this big problem when I'm driving. It's the cause of, I think, a lot of road rage in people. They just assume somebody stops in the road that they're an idiot, instead of thinking, I wonder why they stopped in the road, right? So, yeah, and it just applies to all parts of life. Seek first to understand. Don't jump to conclusions. See if you can figure it out before you have an emotional reaction to something. And this is the last one I came up with, and it kind of relates to some earlier ones, but prioritize experiences over things. You know, back when I first started working at the hydraulic shop, it was all about things. It was about the money. And I missed out on some experiences because of that. So, you know, we find that now. That's why we retired early. Wanted to experience some stuff. And we sold everything we owned because the things weren't important. They didn't really matter. You know, there's a few things here and there I'll miss occasionally. You know, I was a photographer, so I got rid of basically all my gear. And sometimes I miss that because I love to create. I love to take pictures. I've got a camera now, so I can still do that. But these experiences are so much more meaningful than any of the stuff I've ever had. You know, I think the reason I miss some of the camera gear is that I made experiences with it. But I've got, like I said, I've got a camera. I can still make experiences that way. But we're really digging this, traveling around the world, experiencing things. And thanks to this YouTube channel, I can look back and remind myself of the things I experienced. We found on our recent van trip, where we were moving every day or two, mostly every day, that some of the places we went to kind of blurred together and we couldn't remember where they were. So, you know, as you get older, so it's nice to have the YouTube channel. We can look back and say, oh yeah, that's where that was, or that's right, I remember going there. And so it helps us old buggers. So that's all I got on my list. What do you have? I'd love to hear your input on it. What would you tell your younger self? What would you tell my younger self? I don't know. So, hope you enjoyed that. It's kind of an interesting thing. You don't like me sweating all over the place. I would pick the most humid day of the year in Bend, Oregon. So yeah, again, let me know what you tell your younger self, and like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button, and we will see you next week. Huevos Rancheros.